Alright, hello everybody, and welcome on back to Minecraft Musings. I don't know where the youngster ran off to, but I was AFK for a little bit, so I'm not sure. But we have the book. This is ridiculous. It's like someone's just messed with me, like, alright, now let's just like make it randomly do this. So, alright, anyways. So we got movies, then also voting. I know, very random. But how to ensure um, fair and transparent. We'll even do the ampersand. Fair. Yeah, F-A-R-E is like the cost fair, and then, yeah. So, and what I mean by that is really, I mean, um, uh, China and Russia have elections. In fact, I want to look this up, so I'm going to just do a Google search on Chinese elections. Now, whether they're fair or whether they're, I mean, Russia definitely not. I mean, Putin's given himself like free reign for a long time now. I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of conflict over there that needs to figure it out. Oh wait, what's this? First train rolls as Colorado leaders rally for passenger rail linking Denver, Boulder, and Fort Collins by 2027. What? Okay. I mean, I feel like there's already a lot of trains. Let's see. U.S. responds to Russia-China plan to put nuclear reactor on moon. What? Okay, anyway, sorry. That's the news things. So Chinese elections. Okay. So now there's the Taiwanese, which I did see that. I watched it live in live time with a professor of Chinese-U.S. relations. Let's see. Um, China is not a liberal or representative democracy. The Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government state that China is a socialist democracy and a people's democratic dictatorship. Under Xi Jinping, China is also termed a whole process people's democracy. So let's look at the Wikipedia. Let's see. See, ideological debate over democracy in China has existed in Chinese politics since the 19th century. Chinese scholars, thinkers, and policymakers have debated about democracy, an idea which was first imported by Western colonial powers, but which some argue also has connections to classic Chinese thinking. Starting in the mid-18th century, many Chinese argued about how to deal with Western culture. Though Chinese Confucians were initially opposed to Western modes of thinking, it became clear that aspects of the West were appealing. Industrialization gave the West an economic and military advantage. The Qing dynasty, or Qing, the Qing, sorry, dynasty's defeat in the First and Second Opium Wars compelled a segment of Chinese politicians and intellectuals to rethink their notion of cultural and political superiority. See, democracy entered the Chinese consciousness because it was the form of government used in the West potentially responsible for its industrial, economic, and military advancements. A segment of Chinese scholars and politicians became persuaded that democratization and industrialization were imperative for a competitive China. And I gotta say real quick, the stuff that I read from the tweets of, or the X app posts of one Chinese government official I follow, I feel like that's all they talk about. Of course, that's all we talk about too is our GDP, our growth, like our economy. Although I say that, but I feel like now, our election time, we're about to see a lot of it with U.S. election politics and stuff. It's going to be talking about the state of things, how to fix it for people, for companies, yeah, etc. With China, I feel like it's a lot heavy. I mean, there's also a lot of good stuff too, but they focus a lot on like how much money they're making. And it's almost like they're trying to like, I don't know. Anyways, so what is it? A people's democratic dictatorship. Let's see, okay, I skipped along a little bit. So the Constitution of the People's Republic of China, the PRC, and the CCP Constitution, see, I don't know why there's two things, state that its form of government is People's Democratic Dictatorship. The state constitution also holds that China is a one-party state that is governed by the CCP. This gives the CCP a total monopoly of political power. All political opposition is illegal. Currently, there are 8 minor political parties in China other than the CPC or CCP that are legal, but all have to accept CCP primacy to exist. Freedom of speech and freedom of assembly are severely restricted by the government. Censorship is widespread and dissent is harshly punished in the country. Now, I don't know how harshly punished, but I don't know. Democracy dimensions. The general Chinese public has virtually no say on how the top leaders of the country are elected, which violates the right to be a candidate as a democratic dimension for the conduct free and fair elections. Huh. So, international rankings? The least democratic countries in the world. It has consistently been ranked amongst the lowest as an authoritarian regime by the Economist Intelligence Units and Democracy Index, ranking 156 out of 167 countries in 2022. According to 2023 VDEM Democracy Indices, China is the third least electoral democracy. Okay, so it's not looking good as far as democracy, but I don't know. That could be too quick of a change too fast, but elections, let's see. Need to prove fair by world standards. Because if the majority of the world can agree that, hey, how you're electing people is not kosher, especially if you want to, I mean, like, I feel like it's like let's see, standards, a functioning addict, like, and I honestly think whole addiction is also temporary and depends on a few factors, but overall, I have known a lot of people in recovery and whatnot, and I've heard a lot of talk like that, like how China and Russia seem to say, like, oh, we've got elections, or this and that, or the democratic dictatorship, or however that was in the Wikipedia page. Um, these concepts, because without knowing too much details, we have England with a queen and now a king, and parliament, and then you have Russia with a president and elections, and then you have China with a I don't know, not president, but well, the one guy who's the leader, but I don't know the label for him. But if that's true that the lower people don't have any say on the election, then okay, then that's not really an election. That's yeah, fixed elections. So and world standards. It doesn't have to be a dramatic overnight shift, but with how much we change and exchange students and people study from all around the world. I know CSU had a heavy Chinese student presence, um, heavy everywhere. I mean, we had a lot of international students, like the I House. I mean, a lot of people live there. Oh, what was that? Ha! It's on the trackpad. Anyways, but for the U.S., I mean, the U.S., USA, let's see, let's do a dash, needs to lead by example. All right, and then leaf by example. Examples. Um, I was thinking, like, maybe have, let's see, public website, read only website. And that would get into like it can only be changed by certain aspects or it cannot be changed. And then we would have to have a voter registration number, read-only website with, oh well, let's just say with voter registration number. Because then you just have to have your voter registration number sent to your email, which should be protected by multi-factor, but your voter registration number, better than we used to use our social security numbers in elementary school, voter registration number. But a voter registration number is auditable. Number and private, yet private. Only the people that need to see or need to know which political party you're in, and so on and so forth. And a lot of that is like public volunteers, and that's good. We need to have people from the communities involved in the process, both Democrats and Republicans. There needs to be a clear, open, and transparent nature. Now, say you want to verify to make sure, did my vote get counted as a Democrat or a Republican? So you would take your voter registration number that only you know. It's probably like a 10, maybe even a 15-digit number, that's sent to you via email and generated every election, like, randomized or whatever. It could be a hash of, I don't know, your name, birthday, social, whatever. Well, you don't want to make it too much, and even if, like, because if someone could reverse the hash, then they could figure out everyone's social, because you got to assume that these numbers are being exposed. But either way, some other way to identify you, maybe a combination of your address and something, I don't know. We could figure it out. We have plenty of intelligent minds that could come up with an encryption algorithm or some kind of key or fingerprint that is linked only to you, and you can check the website, and if there's a blue or a red or a other, or whatever, and it could even have the name. I mean, and then everybody could look at the list and see how many names of Trump and how many names of Biden. They could count them if they wanted. They could do a control F and a count, like, and then that way every last person can see in live time, like every registered voter coming in and what they are. Because nobody's gonna be like, oh yeah, number 24601, like, oh yeah, yeah. Actually, let's write that. No, not Jean Valjean from Les Miserables, but let's see, live updates on choice. Like clickers. And now clickers are a technology that I used at CSU. Clickers. That was an auto, and they're a great company. And maybe they could sell this technology too. But with a clicker, okay, maybe not clicker, but the concept is where you could see on the board, like when people change their answer to some question, it would change in real time. Ugh. And actually, let's go ahead next page. Um, what was that? Voting. Let's see, voting continued. Or just voting. We just need to have like a label at the top of these pages. Um, USA. Um, uh, I'm trying to think of how to put this. So basically, we made a website. Let's see, website. Ugh. That lists every voter registration number and what their vote is. So there's still anonymity. Nobody knows what that number means, but they can see with their own eyes what the votes are. Vote is. I feel like that would be. I mean, I'd be okay with that. Like if somebody, I mean, even if somebody knew like all of my friends back home, which are mostly Republican, would know anyway. Like they already know me and they already give me a hard time about it, but it's fine. Like we still live and let live. But ugh, yeah, website that lists every voter registration number and what their vote is. even if it's just color-coded. Wait. Color-coded. I'm thinking because what we did is we made a bunch of pet adoption websites that would, in live time or real time, check, or they would ping other websites to see if they were available, color coded. So, and this could be like, and I bring up Clicker on the other page because with Clicker, like you could see people would change their answers and they'd have like a bar graph of like so many people picked A or B or C or D for a multiple choice thing. And then people would like play around with it, push other buttons, and they'd bounce around and move around. And so until the test was finished, and then there was a snapshot of the last frozen instance of the ratings, and then you could see your live voting, and you could actually see it with your own eyes that only the people that had registered clickers, and you even had a fingerprint on those clickers, an ID, whether you clicked in or not, and that's what they traced your attendance. Yeah, anyways, there's a lot of things about that. And nobody cared. Like they couldn't see your name with the number. They're just like, okay, this clicker was here and this one wasn't. So there's a layer of ambiguity or a layer of anonymity. Let's see. Color coded and then color coded and then clickers tracked fingerprint / hash of ID traceable to the user. I'll bet you we could contract them to make something though. There you go, and then they'd have the proprietary idea of the concept. Although there's like bamboozle and things like that, like or no, cahoots. Um, Anyways, if we just did this on a national scale, like if you had everybody with their voter registration number and their multi-factor authenticated protected email with their voter registration info, everybody can vote from their phone or their computer, and if they don't have a phone or computer, I could borrow one, or I don't know, like, I mean, you would still log in with your voter ID number with your email and be able to cast your one and only one vote, and then it shuts off. Like, you could still change your vote, like if you wanted to flip-flop or whatever, and it's as simple as pushing a radio button, like, oh, I click this, okay, good. And you could even see, you could have it in another window, and you could see in real time what your vote is. And if you wanted to audit it, like once it's frozen and locked, there's a copy of that saved to a read-only server. Yeah, this is totally doable. I mean, at end or closing time, or at close, snapshot a snapshot. It's okay, China, I'm just gonna go ahead and figure this out on my own. At close, a snapshot is stored to multiple, because you don't want just one, multiple read-only servers. Meaning they can't be rewritten, they can't be changed, they can't be altered. Read-only servers. It's disabled the write function. So, and it's really easy to do that in Linux. You can control the permissions. It's like chmod dash 777, I want to say, is 111. What is that? One in the one to be 4, one to be 2, and one to be 1. Yeah. So it's 111 is 777 is permissions for, and it goes from user to group to world. Anyways, and that's just how Linux does it. And they do permissions. It's very secure. If you are logged in as a root or super user, you got full domain. If you're in the group, then you have a group permissions on a file or a service, which everything's a file in Linux. Then you're good. You can use that. But if read is disabled for everyone, including the owner of the file, then it's a read only. I mean, you gotta take the write and the execute away. Uh, Anyways, and that's just Linux, but I mean, we could figure things out. Voting fair and transparent, and then, you know, if we figure out a good system that everybody can get on board with and figure out, we also, we almost wouldn't need legislators. I hate to say it, no, we'd still need them to read the laws and interpret the laws and then communicate that to us. Also, where did this kid go? Did this kid die? I don't know, but I'm almost saying we should go ahead and... I'm afraid we're gonna lose this stuff. I think I go transfer it over there, just like, I don't know. Or maybe I'll do that sometime when I have some downtime. Or where are we even at? 20 minutes. What were we even trying to do? It's so distracted in this game. We don't really need a bunch of wood now we made this house. Hey, parrot. Oh, shoot. I'll just spruce up the place a little bit. But I'm thinking that's basically it. Like, once we get to that point where it's... I mean, really for us, too. Like, this is much of a wish list for America as it is for China and Russia, but just some way to prove to the world that, yes, we're being fair, humane, in an acceptable way. The people are inheriting the earth, the meek, and all that. And just, because that's the easiest way. Now, there's the whole idea that maybe it needs to stay in the ruling families or the properly educated or this or that. But then the question is, like, why don't you allow anyone to be as properly educated to be able to lead in a fair way that's acceptable and beneficial to the common everybody? Like, if you're really a government for the people, which communism on paper, like, it sounds great. Like, it's a government like that benefits all people equally. Like, you know, we all do this together, whatever. But even in just that little Wikipedia article, there's been contemplation about, and of course Wikipedia isn't the end-all, beat-all. Like, I mean, I'm totally okay with people coming in and being like, actually, no, it's more like this. In fact, I'm speaking with some professors about Chinese U.S. policy, and I'm about to watch some videos on it. I haven't started, mind you. I only watched an interview video, about an hour long, of this Professor Hikula, and I actually visited with Professor Glenn Shive of another. So, anyways, we're mixing and stuff there. So, I'll include the link to Hikula's videos in the description because it is important. Like, it's important that we all are on the same page and understand what's going on with China. So, I might be singing a very different tune, as a matter of fact, after I watch those videos. I might be like, oh, okay, I can understand, because I have seen noticed a bit of that. Like, it's hard to compare China and the USA. It's almost not fair to compare the two. I think it's like, I mean, and already Olympics. I've definitely said my piece about that before, where it's just not as entertaining. Like, we just win all the time. Like, hey, you know, like, woohoo. I mean, it's still cool to see how skilled everyone is. That at the end of the day, like, as far as like the medal ceremony and like people kind of roll their eyes, like, you know, guess who won again, and you know, that kind of mentality. Oh, am I close enough? Yeah, okay, good. I'm gonna say that's a gamble because I don't know how tall the tree is. All right. Try not to fall to my death. Also, I gotta make sure that these aren't containing... Yeah. I mean, not that it really matters. It's gonna increase the canopy. Oh, I can see right there, but is that... That's another tree. Alright, never mind. So, that's okay. Also, I'm full of... Alright. So, I mean, and once we have that, just like the clear and transparent elections, even for us, I mean, that's like, you know, the pot calling the kettle black. Oh. Oh, it grew up. Nice. Living at home. Do you need a ceiling? Probably. Just gonna put a lot of this stuff in here that we don't need. We should plant the crops. We should go ahead and do that. Make like a little bit of... Wait. Oh, that is one thing I wanted to do. Let's see, let's get some wood. Got some wood. Let's make a... 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. There we go. It's a little sloppy not having wood on the outside, but I mean, at least this way. There we go. Actually, you know what? They don't need to be getting rained on. I mean, it'd be nice to make a glass roof, but we can always adjust it if we want to. Let's go ahead and fix it for now, so it's not good intentions and yeah. This is a scalable way and a more secure way to make sure that something happens. At least there's something. The default is more acceptable and humane. Oops. I don't know, but I'm thinking that there's going to be a lot more dependency on people's interconnectivity. Like, that adding just like that transparency aspect to voting, to where anybody can log in and be like, alright, I'm going to check and make sure that my vote didn't get changed. And then, you know, and everybody can. Like, I mean, alright, everybody check your votes. Make sure everybody, you know, and then all of Truth Social and all of XApp could be, alright, everybody, was there anybody that they're voting? Then take a picture of it isn't what you think thought it was supposed to be. And then, I don't know. But that way, at least people could do that. And it could take time to check all of those, but there would be ways. Because you'd probably get a few people lying, too, to try to sow doubt into the system. And be like, oh yeah, no, I voted this way, and it shows that way. And then they, like, really on purpose voted the other way. I got it. So they could have the options on either side of the screen, a wide side of the screen. Let's see. Because some of CAPTCHA, let's see. Okay, page 2 of 4, voting. Red. Well, no, let's see. Oh, that's actually the time. So, like, separate. Right. The choices. Even use a picture. Ah, there you go. Even use obvious picture of the candidate. Picture with colored background. Color matching background. So there's no doubt. I mean, unless they're blind, colorblind, and even then, if they can't tell that the name and the color matching, the name and the color and all that, separate the choices with a lot of space. Hold on. With a lot of space. and screen capture the whole thing. The whole thing. And the reason I say that is like even if you didn't, you don't have to really store it because that could be like a violation of privacy. I've even seen that, but capture the whole thing, or at least that's a big run-on sentence. Well, yeah, let's make a new sentence, or at least I know we're running over a bit, but at least captcha. I don't know how to spell it. Captcha check, meaning that part of the captcha check is how the user does a thing. Of course, people are going to program it like to make bots look like they're people users, like using the mouse all shaky and indirect. But that could also prove without a reasonable doubt that they voted for who they said they voted, and it wasn't a mistake. It was clearly visible, like, oh, I clicked either Trump or Biden. And if you can't tell who they are, then, then that's the whole integrity. And that way it could be completely traceable. And so people that say, like, okay, wait, this doesn't match what I claimed, and then they could go in and investigate the little snapshot of that. And they don't even have to. A robot could do it. And a human eyes could look at it there, but then, like, there'd be no way to fake that. Like, if you had all of these things recording and then again moving to a read-only state of being stored, that way it can't be manipulated, it just literally cannot be changed, then that's complete accountability and verification of an election. Then once we do that, the US adopts it, and then we put it up to China and Russia to be like, hey, we've got this thing going on. We think it works pretty well. What do you think? I mean, let's work together on this. And then, the source code is pretty easy. Like you just take these fingerprints or hashes of all these different things, you store them in read-only servers, and that's it. There you go. There's your plan for it. So, all right, that's my challenge to everyone. No, I'm gonna keep working on it, see if I can't just build something, because I mean, I'm gonna start tinkering around with a web server. So, well, anyways, ta ta for now. I will see you in the next one. Uh oh, something's going on. All right, ta ta.